All right. Check, check, check. Levels are looking good. Give me a second, guys. Let me do something. Make sure we're even better. Doom, boom, boom. New window. Okay, what's up, buddy? Every time I get onto my computer, Klaus is there. All right, guys, I'm going to get the stream up and then share it with everyone. All right, this looks good. Boom, boom, boom. Hope you're doing well. I want to say happy Tuesday to everybody. We're going to have a super fun stream tonight. Super fun stream. No, not really anything crazy in terms of gameplays. We're going to be discussing my experience for the Catan 2025 USA Nationals. USA Nationals review. Come learn. Listen and learn. And then what we're also going to do, what's up, pizza? Good to see you, man. I'm going to bed, but have a great stream. Bed? It's too early for that. You kidding me? Hope the travels were good, man. We had a super good time. Also got my Master shirt out. Check it out. So this was the first year I played in the Catan Masters tournament. So what they have done historically, they're not going to do anymore because they're making a very big change. But they've always had a tournament most of the time right before the USA Nationals called the Masters. So anybody that is qualified in a playoff, like a top 16 in a previous USA Nationals, they can play in this tournament. And really, it was a super fun tournament where there was no like high stakes. You played different expansions. So we played a Seafarers expansion. We played Rise of the Incas, which was actually, they were both really fun. And then the final game was the dice game, which no one saw that coming. I thought that was a little bit of a lame move, but whatever. Booperinos, tell us everything. I will do that. Don't worry. Good to see you. 3 hours of sleep last night, that will do it. I hear you, man. I hear you. You did awesome. So for Pizza Penguin, it was his second nationals, right? Because I saw you the year that I won. And then top 16, man. Really, really awesome. I was rooting for you. And I'm also glad we were on the same table because it would have been great for both of us to go to the finals. But we'll get there. We'll get what happened. We'll get to that. Jacob, good to see you. Andrew tries. Hello. So guys, we're going to give everyone a moment to come in. Usually these things take, a little bit of time. But yeah, I had such a fun experience. If it's not obvious already, I haven't won. I didn't go back to back, unfortunately. But honestly, a lot of great things happened. I also got some personal achievements that I wanted to do, which we'll talk about that. Probably the biggest one, at least for me, was so the qualifying day on the Saturday, I was the only player out of 150 players to go 4 games straight, which put me as the #1 seed. In a way, like I didn't have to take 4 wins. I could have gone 3 wins and kind of like been a little bit more off the radar, but I had to go for it. I had to go for glory. And I'm happy that I did, honestly. That's insane. So, Pizza's comment is not because I went 4-0. His table was next to mine during the semis. And I just remember looking over and he's losing it. He's losing it because I guess whatever, the table just exploded and he just stands up and goes, "That's insane," which was awesome. So there were some fireworks, but overall, honestly, all the games were really good. And I have to say that the turnout from this particular event, there was more online players than ever before, like percentage-wise. Like there was more everything. But I think almost half the players were from the online scene, which just shows you like how good the online scene's getting, where they're consistently taking over these tournaments. So we'll see, guys. We're trying out here. But everyone, come on in. Come on in. So yeah, really, this format is going to be if you have questions about the event. Once we kind of get a few more people in, I'll discuss kind of the flow of the week. We'll talk about individual boards. We'll talk about the dynamics of the game. We'll talk about who won the event, the big takeaways, and then I'm also going to ask you to bring questions. If you want to know about the next year's season, I do have some insights about that because they did change the format. Oh, by the way, this is the page. Unfortunately, here's me. Last year did win it, but this will be gone soon. So enjoy it while it lasts. Won't be there forever, but that's okay. It's impressive. So many can do well over the board too. Playing in person is quite different. Yeah. So that's a good point, Andrew. And this is something that I think a lot of new, and I'm sure a lot of players online that played their first nationals, they'll come to realize this. It's like there's just a different dynamic. It's really, and I've said this so many times and to a lot of the students, it's like it's just a social game when you're playing in person. Like it's more than 50, 60, 70% of the game. If you want to like be consistent at the highest level, there's a social game that you just have to play. And I think when you're playing online so much, you get into the groove of non-blocks and extortions and table talk, and you kind of forget that there's a human being on the other end of the table. That hurts you. That is a strategy that is going to account for more losses than wins. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I can teach anybody. Like if you want to be successful over the board, you just have to find your social charm and your social flow. So yeah, it's a good point. So we also did, if anyone hasn't seen it yet, manipulation is the key to victory. Ramon, I wouldn't know if I would say that specifically. And also like, what is manipulation, right? Like, I think the idea of manipulation can be taken in so many different directions. It's like even asking a girl out, you could say that it's a form of manipulation, right? Or trying to get a raise from your boss, that's a form of manipulation. So I don't really like that word because I think it has a negative meaning to a lot of people. But there is just an aspect of like being likable, being able to socialize and conversate with people at the table. Like there's value in that. And the more value and like rapport you can build with people, the more things you can do together. Call that manipulation if you want. I would just say that's like good social fundamentals, but to each their own. In person, how long does it take to make initial placements for those games? Yeah. So Jacob, the way it worked this year was we had a global timer, and we discussed this on the stream. Andrew and I did a podcast last week, and pretty much the premise of it was like we had 5 minutes to look and discuss as a board, and then we already had our order. Like essentially the app gave us our order. Like we didn't get to choose our positions. And then they went 2 minutes per player to place. And like you couldn't place your placements until the end of the 2-minute rounds. And then fourth had 3 minutes, which was kind of strange, right? Like why did they lose a minute? But whatever. And so everyone had 2 minutes apiece. So I think in total placements were like a 20-minute thing, accounting for the 5 minutes of discussion and review and then the placements. Did you win? I did not win. No. I feel like I won in many different ways though, Kirby. And that's also worth it too. Dude, Nolan, good to see you. Good to see you. Kelly, what's up, buddy? I saw your message. I appreciate that. Catan is easy, for sure. Justin. I met Justin. How you doing, man? I met you during the qualifying rounds. We didn't play. I got low-key fed a win on Saturday because I was the only one at the table who wasn't swearing and raging. Look, you can say you were fed a win, but I mean, I think you picked a social strategy that worked with that specific player. Now, should someone be just, feeding a win because like, I don't like these two? No. But this again, like really illustrates the point, right? Like there is a meta that you have to be at least aware of and keen to. And more often than not, like it will be successful if you play into it. Hey, Dandy, longtime viewer, first stream. Just want to say thank you. Your videos are practically part of my daily routine. That's awesome. help keep me sane during tough times. Brent, thank you so much. That's awesome to hear. And honestly, something that was really cool this weekend was the amount of people, Justin included, that came up, shared their love for the channel, for the game. Hey, these videos have helped me. Even some people saying like, I wouldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for your videos. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. So, but yeah, if you're in tough times, man, just know you got a good group of people here to lift you up. But yeah, Justin, good to see you there. So you discussing with the other players prior to placement, right? Yeah, there was. So we'll start to get into it here in a minute. There was a little bit of discussion, right? Like really, the 5 minutes was for about 3 to 4 minutes. People were just kind of like internalizing the board, attempting to do some sort of calculation of placements. And then like most of the time for me, I was like, so do you guys want to discuss the board? Do you want to figure out placements? And then like after that point, we'd start pointing at spots and be like, well, this is good, or this is good, and whoever gets this shouldn't get this. But there was no board. There was one situation, which we'll go over game 2, where we worked together to figure out a combination. But other than that, like everyone was kind of doing their own thing on placements, which, it's fine. That's cool with me. Hello from Australia. Loving the content approach to a game I've always loved. Adam, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, I made the trades really attractive too. That's it, man. Trading, guys, I'm going to let you know. You want to know the secret to Catan, to becoming a top player, to winning national tournaments, online tournaments. You got to trade more. Trading and development cards are like the soul and heart of the game of Catan. And players just don't trade enough. They just don't. There's just so many freaking opportunities if you're good at communicating and creating deals, and some people just don't do it. Okay, whatever. So, yeah, hopefully if you watch my channel, that's something that you'd pick up on and learn along the way. All right, guys, I think we've spent enough time. We'll get one more minute, and then we'll jump in. So, and I'm going to encourage you to bring questions. We'll talk a little bit about kind of my mentality getting there. We'll go through some of the boards. And then obviously for those who know, I did make it to semis. So there's also some additional boards after the Saturday. Hey, Ryan, I apologize, man. I know. So I met Ryan on the Saturday morning. He was playing in the tournament and he had a puzzle. I got so caught up. I got so busy. And then on top of that, I had to prepare for the next day. So I'm sorry I didn't get to try out your puzzle, but we'll find a way, man. We'll find a way. But it was a pleasure meeting you. It was honestly like I was pulled in like 10 different directions at any given time. So my attention was in like, it was tough. It was tough, man. But I do appreciate you kind of announcing yourself there for sure. No talk during placements during my games either. People seemed afraid to give Yeah. I think so. I think a lot of people didn't want to like give up too much information, especially if like you're the first, if you're in front of them. It's like, why do I want to tell them what I want to do? It's like, it's only helping their strategy. So, but I try to open up the conversation, not make it such like a tense thing where it's like, oh my God, we're about to go into battle. Busy for everyone. It really was. Yeah. Also, it was a great time too. Welcome everyone that's coming in. So, all right, I think we can get started. I know I've been like dragging on for too long. So yes, let's talk about it. 2025 USA Nationals. Amazing weekend. So for the 150 competitors that won a qualifier and played over the weekend, we flew to Denver. So it was hosted there. It was at a Sheraton downtown. Because I won last year and I was in the playoffs, I got to play in the Masters tournament. So instead of flying, most people were on Friday, I flew on the Thursday because the Masters was on the Friday. And the Masters was fun. It's not like the same energy. We're playing variants. We played Seafarers, we played Rise of the Incas, and then we played the dice game, which was like fun, but like seriously, why are we playing the dice game? And I didn't win a single game. But I already qualified, yes, I like to win everything that I put my hands on. But the energy around the Masters tournament was like, let's just have a good time. The weekend's about to get intense. So didn't win. That's okay. And then a bunch of us went out on the Friday night in preparation for Saturday. Also, by the way, I have to say, Denver was a beautiful, beautiful venue. And okay, it was like a little bit further than it's historically been for me living in Tampa, Florida. But I have to say, it was so much better than what they had last year. We hosted the national qualifier last year in St. Paul, Minnesota. I have to say I wasn't impressed with the venue. I wasn't impressed with the hotel. The surrounding area was a little bit questionable, but Denver was beautiful. The hotel was amazing. Everything you can imagine within like a 3 to 4 minute walk. It was perfect. So we do the Masters on Thursday. I get a good night's sleep on Friday, I get a good night's sleep. And then Saturday's the big day. Okay. I think, what time do we go down there? We went down at 7:00 to check in. There's 100 plus people in a line trying to get their badge. And then we're going to be playing in like an hour or whatever. So it was a long day. In total, at least for me and everything that had going on, it was like a 12-hour day, right? By the time like you got up, you got to the hall, and then I finished all the responsibilities, it was about 12 hours at Catan. So it is super long. Alice, finally caught you live. Good to see you. Good to see you. I would say most people were feeling nervous. I felt really calm. I think that's one of the big things for me, because I've been to multiple nationals now. I've also been successful in nationals. I kind of taken a lot of the stress out of the system for me. But getting your nerves right, making sure you sleep well, you have like a decent diet over the weekend was a big thing for me, and also hydration. But let's get into it. Once the round started, we got a board. We got a list of players, and then we got a board. So let me show you the board. Let me make sure this works. This looks like the board to me. Let me double check. All right. So this was round one. So round one was interesting. We had 2 LA players, so they knew each other. They were somewhat friends. And then we had someone named Dawn. And Dawn was interesting because I played her last year in my round 4, where I was in desperate need of 9 points or a win. So I'm fighting like hell. So that's what Dawn thought my style was like this nonstop fighting, pushing, trying to get points. And that's not my energy in round 1. That was just that situation. But I had first pick here. Sorry, I was second. I was second on this board. Yo-Yo, hope you had fun at Nationals. The Crazy Duck. What is good? What is good? I had a great time, man. It was super fun. So Dawn was first to pick. She was sitting to my right, and then I was in second to her left, and then we had Isaiah, and then Anthony. So Dawn here, she actually takes the 983 to the wheat port. So if you get rid of the 983 here, what would you take in second? I mean, I was actually pretty shocked about this. She's the one who gave me good trades in game 3. Dawn, she is a wild card, man. I'll say it this way, out of complete respect, she is a sweetheart. But the way she considers the board dynamic and the threats is it's like chaos. It's very hard to like pinpoint what she's going to do, when like there could be literally one ideal move and she would find 3 different ideas. That was just like how Dawn played, which made it like very difficult to like communicate with her, because we'd be like, hey, let's really slow down this player. But then she'd be like, nah, I'm going to slow down you just because. It's like, okay. 6-9, right, exactly. Like everyone's saying 6-9-11 here is a fantastic spot. And frankly, like it should go in first. So I'm in second. Game 1, I see somebody go 8-9-3 and I get 6-9-11. I am living my best life. And also, too, it's interesting because with the 6-9-11, if you start to calculate this board out, there's a ton of outs here. A ton of outs for me. So I'm going to just show you how the board played out. And for those who don't know, because I'm going to spoil it, I won every game on Saturday, right? So you don't have to have this big reveal like, did you win or do you not? I won every game, okay? Just know it. Which was honestly, like, in itself was like one of my bigger accomplishments over the board. But let's show you the post here. Okay. So this is where I was sitting. I pulled a ton of devs. Sorry, let me zoom in here a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Looks pretty good, right? 6911, even though the 6 gets blocked. It does, yes. But, you know, the thing is, when you're playing Catan, you can't play timid. You can't play afraid. You always take the 6911 here. The ore is too good, I think. Like, when you can get the best ore weak combination, especially in second, it's amazing. In fact, I'll tell you this. I played development cards. Okay, the last game I didn't. The last qualifying game I didn't necessarily. But I got Army in almost every game. It's just Army's so freaking good over the board. On the way back, I got 5-4-3. So 6-9-11 with the 5-4-3. Incredible setup. Awesome. Loved it. Red ended up doing this interesting brickport play where he went on the 8-9 and then the 6-4-10 up. So this was Anthony. I actually really like this idea where he had pretty much all 5 resources. He had expansions on the 8s and also the 10, 11, 12. Like I said, Dawn in first took the 8-9-3, but then she took the 6-11. The reason she took the 6-11, though, was because Blue took the 8-5-11 with the 8-5-12, trying to plow Dawn. He dropped this road here. Oh, my bad. He dropped this road, and I thought this was a mistake from this was Isaiah, and I talked to him afterwards because, first of all, 9-11's not that great for you when you have the 4-5-2 open. So much better is just if you want to take the 8-5-11, fine, then point left, right? Use your roads efficiently. Don't create an enemy. And because of this, Dawn ended up taking the 6-11, and so she get the starting road. I don't like that dynamic. I feel like you hurt both players there, and then all of a sudden, like orange and red are much stronger because of that. She soloed somebody with 0 cards when I was on 9. Justin, I know, man. She was crazy in like a good way. She was super nice, but it was just like, it was frustrating to play, right? Because you just have an expectation of like, this person's in the lead. Clearly they have 4 points more than anyone else. And then they don't get blocked or hit. But it sounds like it worked out for you. Born Slippy. So the 10-6-3 was open all along. Yes. So after Blue realized that he wasn't going to get the plow, he went Woodport, he built back, and then he eventually got over to the 10-6-11-3, excuse me. Which honestly, like, it's a pretty good setup once he gets all these spots. So that's pretty good. This game honestly looked like a runaway situation for Red. So I think I had to settle down on the 6. I was on 3. Red was on 5. I think Red had a city, a settle. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. He was on maybe 4, right? He had a city on the 6-4-10. He had the settle down here. And then he was on his way to build this city like pretty quickly. I was very lucky, though. I did pull 2 monos. So this just shows you like this game was so freaking close where I think it was like 7, 8, 7, 9, 9, 10. If I don't pull 2 monopolies, I absolutely lose the game. If I pull 1 monopoly, I lose the game. So I think I pulled really well to get myself back into a good situation. But I think if Don was just kind of working a little bit more with the board balance, I think the game would have just been a little bit more even, personally. But okay, we get a great situation. We get hit a little bit too much, but we do get the 6-9-11 in second. That's game 1. What was interesting is the 2 players, Anthony, who was red, and Isaiah, who was blue. Like I said, they knew each other. They were from California. I ended up meeting them again on my semis table. So that was like an interesting vibe, right? Like I beat them already. We kind of have a little bit of a history. You know, they kind of talked up my position, I think because they knew me a little bit. So we'll talk about how the semis played out. It was interesting, though, no doubt. All right, so I'm feeling good, right? Round 1, you take the W. That is like, I have to tell you, when you're going to these tournaments, winning round 1 is such a good feeling. It's almost too good because I think for a lot of players, they let it get to their head where it's like, okay, I got this. And then you get overconfident. So one thing that I try to do is I don't try to get too high. I don't try to get too low. And you have to learn to reset. every single game. And this is something that I had to tell probably over a dozen people throughout the day was like, you're doing great, but don't get overconfident. Or you had 2 rough games, don't worry about it, right? You got a chance. That mindset will honestly pay dividends for anybody that wants to be successful. I would say in life, but obviously Catan as well. All right, so let me go find round 2. By the way, bring your questions. Boom. This one's interesting. I don't think this was specifically my photo, but who cares? Doesn't matter. So the way it works is the game's on a rotation, right? So if you were second, then your next game you would move down a spot and then you would like go to third. So in this game I was third. So I'll give everyone a second, review the board, take a look. What do you take in first? What do you take in second? And then I would say first and second are pretty good logical picks. Pretty good, logical, makes sense. And then you kind of we have to make a little bit of a decision here. And I'll tell you, this one was interesting from the standpoint that I think I made a really, really good deal. This was the only board where I'd say we actually used the placement deal aspect of the game. 8, 9, 10 for first is great. 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I mean, there's 2 big spots, right? You have the 8, 9, 10 here, and then you could go 1 over or pick up the 6, 9, 10. Same pippage, but obviously with 8, 9, 10, you do get the wood brick combo. What is the number on the brick to the right? There's a 6, 5, 2, 5, 11, 9, 8. I don't know which numbers you're talking about. You should be able to see it, though. I mean, hopefully a little bit. 2. Oh, okay. Right here. This is a 2. Yeah, not 12. 8, 9, 10 for first. A lot of good weed outs. Yeah. So I genuinely believe here's a good principle for you. When you're playing over the board, development cards are like the bomb.com. Okay? Like your ability to get ore and get wheat is kind of like, it's just really good. I just think people have a hard time understanding the control aspect of devs and knights. So I would probably lean to something like the 8, 9, 11 as first. And it did go first. So I actually knew this player. This was Logonian. So he took the 8, 9, 11. Second, I think probably rightly chose the 9, 8, 10. So these are the first 2 picks, 1 and 2. With that, what do you take and why? I like picking the wood and shutting off the brick pile. Yeah, that's a good point. The wood has some interesting value here for sure. Why is the 11 in the middle? Is it different than the 12 in the middle? So that's a good point. So these games are not like your spiral style board. Essentially, these are kind of custom boards that are ideally competitive. That's their premise. How they make them, God knows, right? I'd like to think they put some thought into it. But yeah, you're not going to see the typical 11 in the middle of the board as you normally do. But okay, 8, 9, 11, 9, 8, 10. What do you like to take here? I'm sorry I don't have anything on the board to write, but I'm forcing you to use your visualization skills, which honestly come in super handy when you're looking at Catan boards and remembering patterns and all sorts of things. I think this one's actually quite tricky as well. And the girl who went after me, Jessica, really nice. I met her 2 years ago with her husband, who they're both big fans of the channel. And I remember we got a photo together, as you know, her husband was a fan. He was also there as a judge too, which was really nice to see him again and meet him. We ended up having some discussion here after I place, and I think I ended up getting a really good deal. And I thought she got a good deal as well. A little difficult, but it worked out. Let's see here. 843 for third, picking up more OWS on the way back with a complementary resource. 843 is good for sure. 6511 to Sheepport. Also not a bad idea. Yeah, I like it. I guess the bigger question there is what is available for you. And also, it's kind of interesting. I wonder with the 6511, it's probably better to just pick up 9.5. Like 9.5 is just a good spot. It's an 8-point spot. You're going to pick up essentially the best wheat. It's going to be protected by the 8, 9, 11 player. So I kind of like if I'm going 6, 5, 11 to actually go to 9.5. But Sheepport's okay. But it's like, if you don't have the wheat, you're going to be porting for the wheat. So just go pick up the 9, get the production, have fun. And you can still go to Sheepport later anyways. 6, 4, 11 pointing towards the brick port. Yeah. So what we came up with an idea. I took the 843, which I think is just solid. I want the best ore. I want to pick up another tile of wheat, and then I have the sheep. I just have ore wheat sheep, right? It's an ore wheat sheep pick. I like it. I make a deal with her, which is, look, you can take the 6, 10, 5. It doesn't. I wouldn't say it's like the best pairing on this board for you specifically, but it's good. Like you can probably play something like the 6, 4, 11, or even like the side by side. But if you want to take the brick and wood 6, 5, 11 with the 6, 4, 11, or even 6, 10, 4, what I can do is I can help you get onto the 9 so that you can start to produce the wheat that you need. And effectively, like after she settles 9.5, she has everything she needs. I think it's kind of a risky for her to leave me with the 6, 10, 5, but I also think this gives her a pretty decent shot with the wood and the brick. So she takes it. And I was happy about this. I think she seemed happy about it. So I end up getting the 6, 10, 5 here. Like 6, 10, 5 for me with the 843 is amazing. Amazing. So I'll show you how this game plays out. So I 843, then 6, 5, 11 to the 9, 5, 6, 4, 11 here. I take the 6, 10, 5. The 8, 9, 10 player takes the 10. He takes, I think, the 10, 4, 3 down, thinking he's going to center the board. And then Ligonian, he takes the 10, 4, 12 to the 4, 11, 12, which I thought was an interesting play here, right? Like, second thought he was getting the space, and then first said, nah, I'll take it myself. Yeah, these are the things that online players don't understand. And to Adam's point, negotiation can make such a big difference. And I think this was a situation where I just found a potential opportunity where I think I could really make my setup really nice, but also potentially give somebody a good opportunity as well. Maybe because I won, she shouldn't have taken it. Maybe she should have just taken the production and worked her angle from there. But, you miss all the shots you don't take. That's very good for you both, to be honest. I think so. I think it worked out. She was a little frustrated at a few times throughout the game, but I think she was falling behind, which was part of her frustration. All right, so here's the situation, right? I remember I told you she went with this play to the 9-5. She went to the brick port. I think she ended up going on 7 points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's pretty good. So she got to 8. Look what happened with me here, guys. I got army. That was part of the plan. I pulled a victory point. And first dev was the road builder. This guy right here was my first dev. So I was able to road build to the sheep port, 5-2. And then I was just dropping cities. I had ultimate flexibility. I got to the 3-1. I had another road builder, which got me over to the 5. I got enough knights. I got the Yop. Just a great OWS setup, right? I mean, you think about the amount of production, the flexibility with multiple ports, the double wheat meta. I loved it. It was great. Where this got interesting was blue actually was in a really good shot to win. So Logan here, he ended up making this monster road play with a ton of cities down. He was essentially on 9 points. So we made a deal where Orange was going to keep dropping roads simply because like he needed points. Like I think he said, I'm not going to win, but like points do matter at this stage in the tournament. So he opted to play for points. And I was happy about this, right? Because the more he delays blue from winning, the more chances I have to win. I got the VP. I won the game. Boom. That is round 2. Uh, I think round 1 I got lucky that somebody made a placement error. I think with this particular one, I did a good job negotiating a really good situation for me. And at this point, I'm 2 wins for 2. I'm feeling really good here. I know that I shouldn't get too overconfident because if I do poorly the next 2 games, I'm out of the tournament. But I need to win one more game, and I'm absolutely secured for tomorrow. 2 road builders is very nice for OWS player. Yes, that's a great point. I do pick up the wood. So after I get to the sheep port, the 5 is live, which is actually just a really nice asset to where I don't have to push my port as much, right? Because I just need a port for the brick instead of the wood. But yeah, double road builder, yop, pull the victory point, a couple nights. It's really like the perfect storm for me. And I think I had another night down here. The other sneaky part of that initial negotiation is that in saying you would help her get 9-5, you deflect attention away from you getting to the sheep port. Well, the sheep port was kind of like a funny little happy mistake, right? Because first dev I pulled was road builder. Because it's not like when you look at my setup here, it's not like you would assume I'm getting the sheep port anytime soon. It's 2 roads and a settle, and I produce no wood, no brick. So the road builder there was super clutch. I think if I don't have a road builder, I just drop a road to the 3-1 and just play the 3-1 game. But honestly, the 10s were going absolutely buck wild. The 6s were big. Sheepport actually was massive this game. I probably bought 4 to 5 devs. I'd say like something like that, like 4 to 5 devs simply because I had the Sheepport, which was great. All right. So that was my round 2. Let me go to round 3. What's interesting too is pretty much every game I had somebody that I knew, and they all knew me, which was fun. All right. Let me take a little sip of water. Let's see how you want to get against old frenemies as 4th pick. All right. So yes, I was 3rd last round. Now I'm 4th. This one was interesting. Somebody came up to me before I sat at the table first, and someone came up and was like, I'm not playing in the tournament, but my friend is playing and he's playing you. And apparently they were saying like, we're big friends of we love the channel, we watch it. And, he's got really into Catan lately. You guys will have a great game. I was like, oh, cool. Okay. Like your friend just outed you, but this is like a cool little moment. All right. I appreciate that. So that was the first player, was the friend. The second player was a guy that goes by Kim Nerd or Joseph. He's an online player, great guy. He actually won a tournament here in the Tampa Bay, so I got to meet him there recently. And I just know he's a strong player, right? Really solid, plays online, keeps up, cool. Third player was another guy who is recently joined the online scene, also watches the channel, knows who I am. Really cool guy. He lived in Denver. So I was like, oh, that's cool. All right. And he told me essentially, like, I wasn't going to play in the tournament, but because I heard it was in Denver, like I gave it a shot. He qualified. Cool. Good vibes. And this game's recorded, so we might actually be able to release this game some way, somehow, depending on where that footage goes. All right. So where you guys see, there's obviously some big spots here. I think first is obvious, right? First is very obvious. 8-5-10. It's a no-brainer. Makes a lot of sense. We love it. Right? 3 unique resources. You get isolated wheat. One of the best ores. Absolutely the best brick. Boom. Then goes to Joseph. Joseph makes a super interesting call here, which I actually saw this setup for me in 4th in most cases. He ends up going 8-9 Woodport. I actually really like it. I thought that I was going to get this setup because the way I calculated it, I thought he was going to go 8-9-10. Right? Just 3 unique resources, good 3-1 port play, strong production. But he kind of saw what I saw for me, which is the 8-9, point this way. And the idea there is he's going to try to pick up some of this wood, which he does. We'll get there. So now I'm speaking to third, and we're trying to figure out, like, this is where we're discussing, like, well, what makes sense to you? What do you want to do? And he was saying he's between 2 spots, 8-9-10, 6-4-11. I actually really wanted the 8-9-10 here because If I get the 8, 9, 10, I can get the 6, 5, 12, play development cards. I'm a happy chap. So I was kind of pushing him to say, like, if you go 6, 4, 11, like, I'll make sure you can get onto the 8. Yes, like, you're not going to have the sheep, but you're going to have great production. You're going to have kind of the proximity. You'll get on the best wheat with me. And there's a lot. I'm going to have so much freaking sheep if I go the 6 and the 9 that I'll just trade you all the sheep that you need. That was good enough for him. So he took the 6, 4, 11. He points to the coast, potentially to kind of look at the 3, 1 play. And then I do exactly what I said, right? Which was 8, 9, 10, and then 6, 12, 5. I start with the ore. I'm playing devs again, guys. Who would have thought? What do you guys think of that setup? It's pretty amazing. Like, if you think about it, it's pretty amazing that I end up getting that, I think, in 4th. Like, it's just a good setup. So on the way back, the 6, 4, 11 gets the 8, 5, 2. Okay. All right. This is kind of what we discussed. Joseph, right? Mr. Woodport on the 8, 9. He takes the 6, 5, 10 points left. So he's planning on going for the space over here on the 4, 10, 12. Happy days, especially as forward. Did not see that for 4th. Yes. Yeah. I think where this goes interesting is when Joseph takes the 8, 9. Because what I saw was essentially, instead of him taking 8, 9, he takes the 8, 9, 10. Third just takes the 8, 4, 11. And then I take the Woodport setup. That's what I thought was going to happen. And I was pretty happy with that. Everyone's happy. But then essentially what happens is Joseph gets the setup that I get. And I told him this afterwards. I'm like, I think this is a good lesson. In these tournaments where, like, you need to be self-sufficient and you just need to play a good fundamental setup, don't get cute, right? When you go second, you go coastal 8, 9 Woodport. It's way too cute. You need to go simplistic. You need to pick a setup that has good fundamental game plans, OWS, Army, good port play. 8, 9, 10 is a banger spot. Simply because you get the 6, 5, 12 and you buy devs and you have a great day. Okay, 6, 10, 5, Joseph takes that. He points here saying that First is not going to take that with the 8, 5, 10. And First rightly takes the 6, 3. So you can kind of see, like, the 6, 4, 11 went. 6, 3's open. You build the ore port. You have a ton of ore. You got the wood with the brick. You can kind of build around the desert, maybe play longest road, or even build a 10. I think it's a pretty good situation for him. And because my hand is absolutely clobbered with sheep, there's probably a lot of sheep trades on this board. Where this one gets interesting was I was able to build an early city, right? I started with the ore. I started with the 5. The early city plopped down on the 8, 9, 10. And I was just able to keep the devs flowing. This is it, right? Early city, start cranking out devs. And I just had control. I had absolute control of the robber. I had control of, like, the pace of the game. And it was probably, like, my biggest blowout game from that standpoint. This game was fun. There's Kim Nerd, man. There he is. What's up, man? This one was frustrating for him, for sure, because from his perspective, like I said, he's a very smart player. He plays in line, good dude, but he saw it coming. He saw, like, the fact that I was making the rest of the table less cooperative for him, and it just made it really difficult for a setup. I took 8, 5, 2, 6, 4, 11 in 4th. 8, 5, 2, 6, 4, 11. Yeah, so that's what third ended up taking. That's what third ended up taking. But this game was recorded. It'd be fun to maybe share it, kind of learn some insights. Again, man, I'm sorry. I knew you were fired up after that game. We had a good post discussion, and it was just a tricky thing. Just a tricky thing. And honestly, my goal, like, I didn't want to play other players that I knew for this reason, right? But it was just bound to happen. All right, so here's my dev draw. I ended up getting, it was great. I got 4 knights. I got the Yop, the road building. I think I got it at the end. I'd even use it. Yeah, I had it down road builder, and then I pulled 3 VPs. Were all the boards the same for everyone? That's cool. Yes. Yep. So we had a haul of like 35 plus boards, something like that. And everyone was playing the same board. drop the video. I don't have the video. The video belongs to Shady's. So he might put it out on his own channel, but if he does, I'll definitely, post or share his video so that everyone else can see it. You played a phenomenal game. I appreciate that, man. I think I got put into a really good situation, to be fair. And part of my goal was to make the players less cooperative for you. Because the thing is, your setup as a port play, like, you need to bounce the other game. And like, he was doing all the right things, right? Like, he was making logical arguments, but I think like I did a decent job of shutting those arguments down. And it's just like they didn't want to trade. I think they were just playing a little bit too independent versus like the alarm bells had to be going off for every single player at that table, and they just weren't. So at a certain point, I just think the control was too tight. And then, I end up kind of just running away with it. But Joseph's a great player. I wish it wasn't him in that situation, but it is what it is. So yeah, here it is. I end up road settling 3-1. Guys, here's the situation. When you pull 2 VPs in an OWS game, you need 1 settle in 3 cities. Or you can just pull a VP. So I had essentially 2 ways to win. I drop a city on the 9, or I pull the VP. Pull the VP, won the game. Boom. I am in the playoffs just like that on game 3. What did you end with here? You had the Yop. I remember that because we put you on a VP. I think, honestly, Joseph, if you're still here, it was probably worth mentioning that or even using it, because one of the threats for you is that you had road, and we just felt like you had the city, you had good port play, you had the victory point, which is everything you need. When you have the Yop, you're less threatening, right? The board's more willing to listen to you. So something worth considering there. Maybe you held that a little bit too much. And then I think there was unplayed mono here, which is just brutal. Maybe they had to find a way to use it against me at some point. I think there was actually 2 unplayed monos at this table, which is kind of wild. And by the way, I'll have to tell you, I produced so much sheep, but I was flipping sheep left and right. Like, this 3-1 port was cooking. Absolutely cooking. That's fair. I should have shared dev info. Well, it was interesting. I didn't put you on a Yop. I guess you were just holding the Yop for like a bigger and better play. You said no VP, but you weren't using anything else. So I had put you on a mono, which I felt was even more dangerous. So it's tricky. I'm going to use that dev against you. Of course, I have like 3 or 4 devs as well, but you're the road guy, right? Road guy is always more threatening when you're playing in person. But okay, game 3. I'm feeling good. We had post-game discussion, and I kind of went to game 4 like whatever, right? If I lose it, who cares? But as you know, I didn't lose it. So I'm just going to show you, this is interesting. I'm just going to show you round 4 because what happened, because it was a 3-player game. The energy at the table was just like, let's just have fun, right? Like, I think I was the only person that could actually qualify. So let me zoom in here. This was the board. Look at this freaking setup. Look at this setup as white. This is like 6-5-3, 9-6-11. I get the 9-11-3. I get the 6-3-12. I don't have a port. Actually, that was my biggest thing. I was 4-for-1ing wood like a monster. Blue kind of takes this kind of road style game. Orange takes this road style game like a side by side. And I am just cooking cards left and right. Wanted to share a late game or for city pop. Yeah. I mean, that Yop would have been great for another city for sure. But I was legitimately concerned if you had a monopoly, like a couple 6s or a couple 5s, and you just have like a double city play. It is a possibility if a monopoly existed. Of course, I'm always going to think worst case, right? All right. So the general attitude here was like one player couldn't qualify, but he had a win. There was one guy that was on the bubble, but it was pointing more or less towards like, even if you won, you weren't going to qualify. And I realistically, like, worst case, 5 points was probably needed if like the the end of the draw was like a bunch of 3-point or game winner, 3-game wins, but ended up being 2 wins was the minimum. So whatever, no big deal. This setup is bonkers. Why do I have this setup? It's kind of funny because we were almost discussing like, I don't mind blue winning here. Like if blue wants to win, like just get me to 7 or 8 points, I'll be happy. And we kind of had an understanding, like let's just kind of trade very loosely. Let's have fun, like we don't have to take this too seriously. And that vibe was all well and good. And then Orange at some point was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to double play for the win, right? Because he got Fed Army, and then he started to go for Road as well. And we're like, hold up, I thought we were playing a fun, balanced game. So I was like, all right, if you guys are gonna go for the win, then I'm gonna go for the win. And yeah, I just pulled a bunch of good devs. I think I had a Monopoly. And then I stole a particular card on a 7 for the win. Boom. 4-0. That was my day. 4 wins. I have gone undefeated in different tournaments online, but to go 4 wins at a 150 person national qualifier, I mean, I was the only player to do it, right? Like we had one person that won nationals and I was the one person that went 4-0. So I'll take it. Interesting note, I didn't win, but the guy that won, Barack, he was 2nd seed, which is actually pretty impressive if you think about it. 1st seed, myself, was national champion of last year. 2nd seed after the Saturday was also a national champion. I'm just saying, like, what is luck? Is luck really a thing? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. All right. Any questions? Any questions? We're going to get into the semis. We're going to discuss that. This was all one day, right? This was all on Saturday. By the way, like by the time this game ended, exhausted. I felt amazing, right? Just went undefeated, but exhausted. So we go out. There was like kind of a meetup at the Milk Market in downtown Denver. We got like a drink, a couple slices of pizza, and I'm like, guys, I'm not staying out late. You guys can go have fun, but I'm going to get a good night's sleep. Honestly, the food wasn't that good at the Catan event, so we actually ended up going out to dinner with some other people. And one thing that really excited me about the situation is historically, they usually stream the 1st seed. So my thought was like, getting 4 wins, I'm going to be on the semifinals, which is great for the channel, right? Like we're getting exposure. It's great to be the defending national champion. And it's great that I'm 4-0 on the day of. Like everything made sense for them to stream my game. So I wake up, I'm getting a light breakfast on the Sunday. I'm super excited. I think I was the calmest one there. And that's just like, been there. I had the experience. Everyone's peeing their pants. Literally, everyone's going like pee multiple times within the hour before the game, which is actually super funny. And then I come to find out they're not going to stream my game. They tell me like, I asked multiple times during that morning. I asked multiple people. I wanted to alert my audience. I wanted to send a message to the Discord. I wanted to do a community post. I was actually even willing to do a video saying like, hey, we're about to go live. They didn't want to stream me on the table for some reason. They said they wanted to stream a table with a woman. Justin said it. I didn't say it. Justin said it. Maybe. And I think it's cool. I think inclusion is interesting. Diversity is very interesting. I also think like you've got to kind of read the story a bit. Like I couldn't have given them a better storyline, and I think that was just a missed opportunity. I got like dozens of DMs like, why are you not on the stream? Like this makes no sense. But anyways, that is a conversation for another time. All right, so I get to the board. I see Anthony from round 1, Isaiah from round 1, and then Chris O'Brien from Boston. And Chris is actually an online player. He's played ranked colonist before. I've ran into him. So I knew a little bit about his personality. I was helping test the stream and they told us. So Justin, they told you specifically why? Is that why? I was rooting for you, wanted you on the stream too. I think I appreciate that. Thank you. I think luck is a thing, but you have to be able to set yourself up to utilize the moments you get lucky. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think the perfect Catan game is like you're gonna have to get a little lucky, which I can make many cases to how I got lucky. But also you have to capture those moments. You have to play well. You have to play efficiently. You have to make sure your mental's right, your social's on point. I really think I played like perfect 4 games. They're not perfect, of course, but like good enough to where like it did get me across the finish line. Anyways, yeah, to Justin's point, they have their reasons. I don't agree with that. And to be determined what happens about that information. But this was the board, guys. And the way it works is because I was first seed, I can choose the position. I'm very curious. I'll give everyone like a minute. I looked at this board. It felt like 10 minutes to me. What would you do? Right? Would you go first position, second, third, or fourth? Yeah, the Catan staff told us that. Fair enough. Fair enough. So that was the first move here to figure out, do I want to take the first, second, third, or fourth position on this board? It's tricky. This one is tricky. And I honestly, the more I looked at this board, the more I felt like, man, this is really balanced. And if anybody kind of like slips a little bit, it can get really good for any position. So I'm not going to I didn't really feel like we did a lot of collaboration, but we did enough. All right, so let's see what you come up with. By the way, I came up with a brand new Catan tactic. Brand new Catan tactic that has never been seen before. No, I'm not going to say it's never been seen before. But you guys will appreciate something that I did. And I felt proud of myself. Is it true there was a 6 and 8 wheat ore every table? Was there a 6 and 8 wheat ore every table? I guess so. Yeah, there was a lot of wheat and ore this tournament. Yeah, there was a lot. Well, to be fair, like there wasn't. I think game 2 had the 2 big ore spots, right? The 8 and the 9. But most of the boards just had like one big ore spot, right? Like this corner 6 as an example. And it just seemed like I kept getting onto the good ore. No, also board 3. Board 3 also had, yeah, there was a lot of ore spots. That was interesting. Leaning towards third and fourth based on no OP early picks. I think go second, either take 9, 5, 10 or 6, 9, 11. Yeah, yeah. That, you know what? That was my first thought, Colby. I said, if I take second, which by the way is like a rule of thumb, I always say to myself, like, if I don't know what to do, I'll just take second. If I see many good spots, I'll just take second. Because if I see something playable, then I'm going to have more options on the way back. But for some reason, I was really concerned that second wasn't, like if I take second and there's a spot that I really, really want, that'd be great. I just didn't think I would get it. So I was like, man, the spot just plays well. I'm really good at this style of game. Maybe I should just take it now and be done with it. Although first you take the 6, 4, 10, point to the 5, 4, could be juicy. 6, 5, 10. 6, 10, 4, excuse me. 6, 10, 4 to the 5, 4. That's interesting. Also risky, but interesting. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, I don't necessarily like that idea simply on the basis that, first of all, your settle is, you're not getting a port. You have way too much wood to your brick. Like your ratios aren't good. And honestly, at that point, you're probably better just going to the wood port, right? Like instead of going to 5-4, you just go to 4-11. 6-4-11 for the best sheep and hope. 8-10 for OWS game. I like 6-9-3 here. Yeah, see, look, there's a lot of ideas on this board, which it is not easy from that standpoint. So my gut said I need to take the best store. I think, absolutely the best trader. I will say this, I'm the best trader at every table. That is just my mentality, right? Like, you're not going to like out trade me. I'm going to have the better relational skills socially, so I can work with most people. To me, a lot of people went with the 9-6-11 for the OR. I didn't really like the 9-6-11 because, to Justin's point, if you calculate this board out, there's a pretty good shot that I actually end up getting to the 8-10. Like 8-10 or 8-9 are going to be open, right? Like one of those will be open. In the event that so I'm either going to get more wheat and ore, or I'm going to get wheat and brick with a sheep port. On that basis, I end up going with the 6-4-11, to Justin's point. And the idea is like, if I go 6-9-11, I'm missing the sheep. So why don't I just go get more sheep anyways? Which, by the way, the 4 was bonkers. 4 rolled great. Jim B, what up, man? Good to see you. So it's a risky pick, right? I'm going on a 2 resource or sheep, but I just don't see them locking this 8 away. So my worst case, I think, is 8-10, which is giving me a 3-1. My best case, I think, is 8-9 to 6-9, right? Just nice little production jump. I got just kind of 4 resources, great production, side-by-side flexibility, maybe for a road play. Yeah, strong chance you get on the wheat the way back. Well, it's almost guaranteed, right? You place this board out, no one is going 8-10, realistically. Because it doesn't make sense. I guess the 9-5-10 could, right? Like, you're going to go all in on 10s, which was a massive mistake. So 9-5-10 with the 8-10, this kind of works. Wise, what is good, man? Good to see you. I think if first takes that, I'd be working to get the 8 locked. Yeah, but see, you can't just play overly defensive against one player and then lose the game. This is what players do sometimes. And it's like, you got to play your own game. And this is why the robber exists. This is why trades happen, right? Like, you can balance a tough situation early so that it doesn't become a big problem. So 6-4-11 goes down. 9-5-10. No, sorry, 6-4-11. Now the surprising pick here, Anthony ended up taking the 6-4-11 over here. So the wood brick wheat to the wood port. I didn't like this pick, and I'll explain why, but I didn't like the pick on the basis that I didn't think he was going to get the setup that he got. To be honest with you, I didn't think he was going to get it, but he did. And that happens. Dirt Nap Nub, hey, hello, Dandy Drew. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Welcome. When I played this board, second took 6-4-10, took 8-10 on the way back. 6-4-10 with the 8-10. I don't like it, though. I think for that situation, you're probably leaving too much. Maybe, though. So let's talk about it real quick. So 6-4-11 went here in third. And this one was kind of interesting to me, but I see what he's doing. So Chris, in fourth, he took the 6-9-3 to the brickport, and he took the 8-9-2 starting road. And his whole premise was he's going to use his starting road to get to the 6-9. It's pretty logical, right? Like, 6-9 is a great spot. He's going to have literally really good wood, the best OWS resources. He's going to have, the port flexibility here. He doesn't have a 3-1, but he does have the brick port. I like the play, but I almost think like 6-9-3 with the 8-10-3 might have been better for him. Like, he just plays road there. Like, 8-10-3 points up here. 6-9-3 points here. I think it's better. I kind of do. Maybe. All right. So no big deal. So now Anthony has got the 6-4-11. He takes the 8-3-11. And the consequence of this is so interesting, right? Because when he takes the 8-3-11, the 6-3-10 is open. which is actually pretty insane. So 8-3-11 points left. 9-5-10 ends up taking the 8-4-10. And he points towards the coast. I think he wants to go get his port play cooking. So this monster spot, oh my God, this spot right here, 6-3-10 is open. It's like a 10-point spot, ton of production. It is open. Pretty silly, right? Like what the hell's going on there? But okay, whatever, no big deal. So I have to make a decision. Do I leave it and let them fight for it? Or do I take something like the 8-10-12 to 5-12, and have all the resources? That's interesting. Or do I just take 8-10? So what do you do with that situation, guys? I'm putting you on a visualization challenge here, but do you take 8-10-12 to 5-12? Do you go wheatless and take the 6-10-3? Or do you take 8-10? And I'll tell you, I picked at the very last second here. Like we were trying to discuss it. We were trying to figure it out. And my timer ran out and I just like dropped it on a spot. I mean, it was a spot that my heart was telling me to put it on anyways, but I wanted to find another reason not to take it. What's up, buddy? We got Klaus in the house. The Klaus house. Say hi, everyone. My thought here, and this is like a good lesson for everyone, is when you on your settlement, it kind of needs to dictate the game a little bit, right? Like if I take an or sheep spot, it should be screaming to anybody what game I'm playing. And my thought was like, if I can find a way to dominate devs in a way that no one else can, no idea, to be honest. If I can dominate devs, then that's the plan that I want to take. What's up, Klaus? Jim B. You got a fan, buddy. Yeah, he's such a good baby boy. He loves cuddles too. So I took 8-10 here. So I have, just picture this, right? 6-4-11, 8-10. I have a starting port. So, okay, here's the way you look at it, right? Like, Drew, you don't have a lot of production, right? You're only on 5 hexes and not 6. This is true. I have a production problem, but I have an efficiency start. So it's kind of like I gave up a little bit of production to get a little bit more efficiency. And that's kind of like, that's where the dev card game thrives. Like it is all about how efficient your setup can be. Now, if you can get production like I did in my second game, like I had crazy numbers and great ports and just crank out 1 million devs, great. But, hey, we're in the semifinals of USA Nationals. You don't always get what you want. Klaus, you cutie. Yeah, he is. My thought here was I have double or, double sheep, and I have a good partner here where I think I can make enough deals. He's going to have a ton of wheat where if the 8's blocked, maybe he can help me unblock the 8. So from that standpoint, it's almost like I have double wheat, double or, and double sheep. That's why I take the setup. I think the dynamic, I'm getting army here. Like I feel confident. Now the question is like, can I get good devs? Can I get good trades? Are my roles going to completely shit on me? To be determined. I don't see any others getting a lot of devs. Well, the only other person that I think was going to fight me pretty consistently on that was potentially the 9-5-10 player. So this was Isaiah. I think if the 10s are going at some reliable frequency, like 10s and 5s, then he's probably in a decent spot to buy a couple devs, try to pin me down on my ore and my wheat. And that's all she wrote. Let me tell you this. This 10 right here, this guy rolled 1 time. Duncan, good to see you, man. This 10 rolled 1 time the entire game. 1 freaking time. So from that standpoint, like just remove the 10 tile, like take it off the board and like throw it across the room like a frisbee. I have an 8, 6, 4, and 11. That's all I'm playing with. And that's all I had the entire game. 1 time is so brutal because I needed to roll a few times. I needed to like give me like a couple or like unstick my hand, right? Especially when my 6 inevitably gets blocked. But I will say this: I had a first orbit city. Did you get blocked? I got blocked so much. Yes. In fact, I got solo blocked multiple times at like 3 points, which we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how that came into the play. I did, because I started with the or and the wheat, literally the first 3 rolls were 8, 6, 6. I think those were the rolls. It was like insane, right? Like I rolled literally the perfect city in my hand, the first orbit, which is like, okay, let's go. Let's go. So I city 6 for 11, and I'm feeling good. Like I'm going to be a target, but I think I just have to do it. Like every time I city early, I tend to have good success, right? Because cities are good, cards are good. I also have the port. Pretty much like this game for me is the sheep was rolling pretty well. I was 3 for winning a ton of sheep to buy devs. I got army. My first 7 devs. So here you go. I'll get into the tactical decisions. My first 7 devs were knights. All knights, nothing else. Back to back to back to back to back to back to back knights. And it came to a point where I had 4 knights played, three knights down, but they weren't believing me, right? Because it's like, did this guy actually pull 7 knights? I was telling them that. I told them, guys, I have all knights. Literally 1, 2, 3, 3 down knights, 4 played. Like I am drawing so freaking bad right now that I think I'm going to lose this game. But they kept soloing me over and over and over again because they just assumed like, I don't know. They assumed I was lying even though I was being honest the entire tournament. So the player before me, Chris, he plays a knight. And I told him again, Chris, I have all knights. Like, you don't have to hit me. He's like, no, I do have to hit you. So he puts it on my 6. And then he passed the dice to me. And at this point, I'm like, man, I am getting railed. I'm on 5 points. I've bought 7 devs. Like, I think I'm losing this game right now. And they're not cooperating. They're not listening to me. I'm trying to give them dev info, which I never do. And like, they're just not working with me at all for whatever reason. Army is locked. Yes, army was good luck, guys. This is mine. This is mine. Oh, yeah. So Justin, that's what I used. So it came to a situation like I have to do something now. I have to figure out a way to get this table to change their mind about my situation, or else I'm losing. So I take the 3 down devs and I slide them up front to Chris, and I say, Chris, you can pick any dev you want. I will flip it immediately and play it because they're all knights. He points to a dev. I flip it immediately. It's a knight. And then he's like, okay, I believe you now. This is like, these are moments. I mean, obviously, Justin's a good player. He knows what he's doing. He thought of this too. But these are moments that you have to capitalize on when your back is against the wall and you have to get the board back on your side. You got to find these creative ways to be like, hey, I can't show you all my devs, but I can prove to you, there's like little subtle tricks that you can use. So I thought that was just a cool moment. I really felt there was a change in the energy where they're like, okay, it went from like, we don't believe you to, man, I'm sorry to hear that. You're in a bad position. And it's just like, because I did that one maneuver, I just really felt like I got a lot more life. I was working better with the board. It's cool. It's cool. So that was a turning point for me. I felt like I got blocked less. I got a lot more deals. They were turning to me saying, who's the block? They were looking for, there was a couple trades. We were trying to balance a little bit more. Let me show you the board. So how it ended, because it became a very interesting situation. Here's the game. Pretty wild game. If you look at my setup, I built 1 road settle. Like I saw Danny selling meth in the US Nats venue. No, that did not happen, G. I am not Walter White. Sorry to tell you. Did not happen. Plus, it's Colorado, right? People are doing their own Colorado thing. They don't. Maybe if you go to like Albuquerque, shout out to Breaking Bad. Yeah, this was brutal, guys. Essentially, after the 7 nights, I did pull Monopoly. So if you look here, I did pull the Monopoly, and I made a massive mono play. I think I pulled like 15 wheat. At that point, I think I was on 7 points. Because I had 2 cities a settle. That's 5. Army is 7. Massive mono. Sorry, with the mono I settled. I went to 7. I pulled 2 devs. I got a Yop and I got a VP. I'm on 8. Thank God. Locked 8. And there was an interesting situation. And Chris, if you're watching this, like, this is a good feedback for you. There was 2 devs left. We're all doing some accounting, as you should, to figure out like what are the devs, who has what. And they didn't really clarify, but I knew because the information was being passed around the table between everybody. But I think I was the only one that glued it together. There was 2 devs. It was a Yop and a VP. That's what I knew. That's what I inferred. Chris buys a dev. He buys one of the 2 devs. And we all say like, oh, he's got 3 VPs because we knew he had 2 down, right? He's got these 2 here. We were insinuating he pulled the 3rd VP and he says one word. He says, Yop. Okay. If that's what you want to tell me, that's what you want to tell me. So I roll ore. I didn't have ore in hand. I rolled the ore and I gave 1 ore and a year plenty, said I'm buying the last dev. It was the VP. So I'm at 9, right? I pulled that final VP. I think Chris could have been purposely saying that. Like, he could have outplayed me there and purposely said that to throw me off the trail, which actually would have been like impressive. But I think he was a little bit nervous. I got the sense like, this was like his big first Catan experience. I think he slipped there. When he said Yop, like I was like shark in the water, feels like he just gave me something that I have to use right now. And sure enough, I pulled the VP on that intel. You got to be careful, guys. Like these tells, just even saying one word like that, could lose you the game. Could lose you the game. All right, so I'm on 9 points. And the gist of it is that monster road battle happens, right? Like big rolls. They all agree, like Drew's just on 9. They figured it out. I had wheat in hand. They blocked the 6. This sucks. But I had an ore in hand. So I have the wheat. I have a single ore down here. I need 110. 110 wins the game. Or like maybe I get a combination of some 4s and some 8s and I can port. 110 wins. For 3 orbits, I just couldn't roll a 10. 6 was blocked. The 6 rolled maybe 2 or 3 times while I was blocked, by the way. Anytime if it was open, I would have got it. 7 just didn't roll. 10 didn't roll. And at this point, Anthony's just in like a big spot. He had one play where he did like a 2-point play from like 7 to 9. Ultimately, like the short of it is he ended up taking road. We had to do this whole thing where blue was about to win because he had settled for 9, so we fed the plow. It was chaos. I mean, maybe there was a way to better that situation. I think that was, at least from my standpoint, maybe I could have thought about a better way to balance the end game. I do think Chris, he could have gone the center too, by the way. Like this spot was left open and more or less given to orange. Blue could have taken it. He didn't take it. I think that was a mistake. But there you go, guys. My journey ended here. I got to 9. I had a very just like efficient setup. These guys are building a bazillion roads and I'm over here like 1 road settle and just praying to get a single roll to drop the city. I just couldn't roll a 10. 110 all game is just so silly. So silly. But, I think Anthony played a good game. He played a steady game. I think, there were some interesting plays. I'm not going to get into a ton of details about the mistakes that I saw. But Anthony played well. He rolled well. And at the end of the day, like, I just got to say congratulations. I gave him a big pat in the back, gave him a hug. And that's, my 2025 Nationals experience. Other than that, after the game, I went to get a bite to eat. I watched the finals. Barack ended up winning the game. He's an LA player. Also a neurosurgeon. Like this dude is laser calm. It was actually inspiring to watch somebody that was like that calm and focused and chill, just like win the final. So big congratulations to Brock. We will be going to play at the Americas tournament next year in Brazil. So I'll be representing obviously US from last year's tournament. He'll be representing this year. And that's that dude is Batman. Rough way to go out. Gave yourself every chance and pretty unlucky there. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think I redeemed myself with the Monopoly. Like the Monopoly was, without the Monopoly, I'm dead in the water here. But to be able to get like a 20 card hand, settle, double dev, pull Yop into VP and then Yop into the next VP that's massive. I needed 2 VPs in this setup. 2 VPs is my absolute minimum, I think, to have a viable game. And I got them. It was just like by the skin of my teeth though. But yeah, I think when you look at my setup and the fact that I don't have 3 hex spots. I'm literally just rolling the 8 over here. Like the 10 is a non-existent roll in this game. It just doesn't look good. Like I have to just wiggle my way through every little piece of challenge here. And luckily I did. I think from that standpoint, I did really well. The finals is a great watch, and a lot of it was because of his vibe. Yeah, you know what? Like, I thought about this recently, and feedback if you guys have it. I feel like I can be calm like that. Like if you saw my finals last year, I was like super calm, cool, collected. But I also find like I get a ton of heat sometimes, and sometimes you just have to like have a little spice back. Like you just can't sit there and take getting punched in the face. Sometimes you have to be like, yeah, that's just not the play, man. Like let's figure this out. Maybe from that standpoint, like Brock was able to kind of play off the radar. I don't know, but well deserved. I loved his style. I learned a ton from it. Would you still have taken the same initial? Yes, Adam. I stand by this setup. I think it's great. I think it wins on devs. I think I need a better devs though, right? Like, maybe if you take, instead of pulling 7 knights, I pull 5 knights, and then you give me some more utility, I win this game, right? Like I'm on 9 points, and I'd even roll the 10, and I pulled 7 knights, right? I think the advantage is clear. It's just I need just a little bit more variance to squeeze me towards, I think, the win. Poker taught me how to control motions and hold frame. Yeah. I think I never at any point during this weekend lost myself or anything. It was just, it was a scrap. The final was a scrap, and got close. So yeah, there you go. And I do think that final would have been really tough for me. I think Andrew and I, like, we have a good history with each other, great players, but I wonder if we would have kind of made it more difficult for each other, knowing each other's strengths. But what a game. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? Well, it's funny to say that my dev luck wasn't good, but I mean, I did pull the mono. That was the mono was the turning point for me. Like after I got the knights and pulled the Monopoly, my setup started to accumulate points pretty quickly, but no 10, big problems. What are some big takeaways? Big takeaways. Watching Barack win, I think, was a big reminder to me. Like super chill player. He played extremely well. He, second seed into the Saturday, wins the whole damn thing. I think we all need to find that zen a little bit more, because we get so caught up in competitive energy, which I've had to remind myself millions of times while I play the game. But it was just really cool to see, right? Like somebody that almost said like nothing. It was just like he found a way to work with the table, got a great setup, played it. I want to incorporate more of that. I think I could have been better about my end game in certain spots, especially here. There was probably just a better strategy to get me closer to the finish line and not give Orange such a ridiculous end game, but I didn't. I think the big reminder too is that high level Catan, especially in person, is about social game. I saw so many players that were like technically good, analytical minds, were just getting beat consistently by players that understood the value of like good conversation, good vibes, giving people space to conversate and speak. And yeah, it's just like, it's so underappreciated when you're coming in as a motivated player, because you're used to strategies, you're used to like tactics and placements, this and using the Yop this way, when it's like people are there for the social experience and like the community aspect a lot of the times. So big takeaways there. Was there any big crash outs? There was some big crash outs. Yes. Yes. I'm not going to get into that for the sake of preserving an individual that potentially could watch this. But some people took the games a little bit more to heart than others. And to that I say it's just a game. I will say this too. Something I've noticed with myself is like the losses don't affect me as much. Like almost to the point of like non-existent negative feelings. I lost at Worlds in the semis in like a pretty brutal way, actually. Whatever, right? Like I'll be back, right? There's a certain just knowing that it's okay. Losing this game, of course, I would love to win it. No negative feelings entered my system at any point. I was just like, oh, okay. Wasn't my moment, wasn't my day. And I think experience can teach you that, but you also have to have like the right mindset to like allow that to land. Sure. You can tell us the crash outs. I think somebody got upset and punched an elevator a few times. That's what I was told. that's all I'm gonna say. But look, I totally get frustration sometimes. It's okay. As long as no one got hurt at the end of the day, then that's all that matters. That's it, guys. I mean, that was my experience. I love to see everyone there. Had such a great time. I had so much fun. I'm very happy with my run going 4-0. It was so much fun. So good. And also what made it amazing was you guys, the people. The amount of people that came up to me, like Justin, who's I believe still here. Yes, there were some drunk players too. The amount of people that came up to me and just like gave their love for the channel was really, really cool. And I really appreciate it. I really do. Now, I put so much freaking heart and energy into doing this channel and to like becoming the best player that I can and sharing that with you that it's really cool to, not that I need like the validation, but it's cool that other people recognize it and like that motivates them to push too, right? It's like, we're all here to inspire each other and it's a good thing. It's what the community needs. Any comments on the final game? I missed parts of it. I'll say this. I do think Brock probably deserved to win it when you look at the placements, his attitude. I was rooting for Andrew just because Andrew's an absolute homie and one of my best friends in the scene. But I think Brock is a deserved winner. I think the board, he should never have got that set up. When you look at what he got what, the 8-5-3, 5-10-2? Just he should not get that set up, and he did. So it's like, I think the board messed up there somehow. I'm not sure, but it optically looked wrong to me. That's something that they'll have to discuss and figure out, like, where did we go wrong on placements? Because I think like Barack just played such a steady placement game that the setup kind of worked for itself. That's it. Maybe another time I'll review that final. The production was okay. I'll leave my comments about that one to another time, another place. He got the entire top of the board. He did. Yeah. And I also think he made some mistakes too. I remember when he dropped, like he was going for road. He kind of looped the 5, probably like 70-80% into the game. And it was obvious, like he was dropping multiple roads so he could connect for road at the top. I felt that was like a little too ambitious, especially when you have someone like Andrew who will fight tooth and nail to make sure that he gets road extended because he sees the threat. Like he's not, he's a good player. But whatever the case is, it did work out. So who am I to say? I'm not the national champion this year. Great to catch a live stream and chat. Thank you. No, thank you, Adam. I appreciate you guys coming here. And that's it. There you go. I really want to say thank you to Catan. I don't know if anyone there will watch it, but if they do, it was a good experience. I think everyone really enjoyed it. The games were quality. I mean, at least mine were. I'm sure some people had more difficult games, but 4 I'll take it. And I have a lot of feedback to give them, and hopefully I'll find the time and space to do that with them appropriately. But I can't complain. Great weekend. G, thank you, Danny. No worries. All right, guys. I will leave you here. We are kind of going back crazy to posting. I have some big goals for the channel. So if you're just watching this, you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Smash the like button. They need to retire the white pieces for coverage. They're my favorite pieces. The digital board's a big one. Yes. Here's my thought, guys. I know I can't shut up. I feel like they need to fix the production. They need to make the production something worth watching. Like, have a digital board, have even like a standalone commentator that can they can pan to, who can discuss individual plays on a digital board. Like they do this in chess. They'll have a commentator table and they'll have a third guy who is like the specialist, the analyst. That could be me. I'm just saying, like, I can talk forever and ever and ever. These are things that I think if we collaborate, myself and Catan, like, we could do so many cool things to expand the competitive scene and like to actually teach people how to play this game properly. So just a little wink, wink there for you. Anyways, that's it. That's all I got. Thank you, Jim, Edmund, Andrew, G, Adam, Alice, Justin, everyone that came out. If you can, like the video. We're going to be posting daily as much as I can. I've got a flurry of content. We're still actually posting the ranked gameplays from last season. So we're top 10 now. Just wait till you see where we get. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. Only love. And I'll catch you all soon. Peace.